How's it going, everyone? Today I'm reviewing another figure by the Kyoto Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi line. I blanked out on it for a second for whatever reason. Anyway, it is another DC woman, Batman related, this time from the Batman Arkham Knight game. It is, boom, Catwoman. Really good looking, bunch of promo pics on the box, this one, the same one on the other side, with another one with the purple background, and then the back. All these cool promo pics, the accessories and everything. So then let's get it out of the box. But before that, I do want to mention, if you enjoyed my reviews or any other videos I make, please do consider liking and subscribing. That's about it. Let's get it out of the box. Now, before I show the accessories, I do have to, first I'll show the figure. And here she is. Gonna show off first the close-up look of her, and she just really cool level of detail and sculpt work on everything, with every individual part of this pattern on her, the lining, all the everything is just really well detailed and sculpted. There's not really much I can say because I unfortunately still do have to play the Batman Arkham games, so little flight cringe face on that one. But other than that, I honestly do have to say she does. Hopefully, this is really accurate to the design, and if not, it's still pulling off whatever it's doing really well. Big tits. I'm sorry. But still, really good looking figure, well detailed, nice ass. Comes with this stand. Now, you could be normal and just have it grab her waist like that, but this is a Kyoto Revoltech figure, so only really go for these claws if you're wanting to use the stand on a non-Revoltech figure, because they do always have these holes on the back, and that's specifically just to plug it into the back of the figure and just have it stand and attached to the stand through that method, and it always does a better job than just the claw. Anyway, let me have her spin while I show my... There we go. Spinning. She's leaning forward. Okay. Forward just a little bit. Or leaning backwards, I meant. Now, I show you all her accessories. Starting with her alternate faces, where that one's more of a neutral face. We have this more serious face. Putting that right next to here. We have this more playful expression with a little bit of tongue out. Don't a single one of you take that weirdly. And then this other one, where it's in an entirely different head, with the goggles down and a bit of an angry expression. Bring that right here. And then there we go. Good. And then this entire thing of alternate hands, with this slight grabbing hand, or it's grabbing something on the smaller size. I shouldn't have coughed at that moment. That made it seem like a bit of an innuendo. I promise I was not trying to be at all sexual with the intent of that remark. I was. She has some accessories right here. Okay, claw hand, and then a bit of like a. I don't know. I don't know what kind of way to describe these hands right here. And then a pointing hand. And then they're all on this nice little rack for easy access or just something like that. And then this little thing right here, which if you didn't watch the Harley Quinn video from yesterday, first of all, ouch. It'd be really nice if you did. In the back of her head sculpts in alternate faces are these with little pinholes. Now you poke this in here and you can move her eyes if my camera would focus. Boom. And you can change the direction that those alternate faces are looking to get more of a specific kind of look. To more get specific, I don't know how to describe it, just be more specific with the thing she's doing. Anyway, she has her lasso. I held it up in the completely opposite direction of the camera. Now this is the lasso specifically to plug into her side. Let me take her off the stand for a moment. Plug her in. And on her side is this little thing right here. Now this is for when the lasso is in use, and you can just plug this for if you want to make it seem like she has it on her, she got that thing on, but you know, isn't actively using it. Boom. And on that note, let me plug her back into the stand, put her back on the spinning display, and then show off the different versions of her lasso. Like this one, where you can have one arm holding the actual handle part, and then the other holding onto this end or this end of the lasso to make it seem like she's doing something with it. And then this one, which is the handle end of a lasso, and then this end on a bendy wire, or the actual lasso part of itself on a bendy wire, so you can move it any which way you want. Now for storage purposes, especially if you want to keep the box, just wrap it up like that, because that's sort of like how it goes in. This, put that right there. A little pile of gold and other treasures you can have her have right next to her side. Now this is what I meant for the gripping smaller things earlier, where you can have her do something like putting that small part of the hand of focus camera, and have her maybe like grabbing this end and putting it in right here or something like that. I don't know. Just anything where it's not as perverse as that cough made it seem, I swear. I was clearing my throat from something. Anyway, cool little necklace. I tried, and I'm not too sure if you can actually put that on her. I think it's just a little necklace to be like another little treasure you can have next to her or have her holding. And then for the final one is this gem. A red gem of a sort. It's totally not one of the mass power emeralds. Chaos emeralds, I meant. Fuck. Oh, Lord. I'm just kidding. Anyway, all the accessories out of the way, and now that I've shown them all in detail, let's transition to move all that out of the way so I can show you her posability. Transitioning. Now, here's Black Cat in all her glory again to show her head articulation first. Now, how far she can look up is pretty decently far, and not at all, barely at all down. If you wanted to look down, you'll have to mix a bit of torso articulation. She can do a bit of left to right, do a little bit, decent bit of head tilting. Yeah, pretty much move a lot around, just looking down specifically. That's the one thing that's not good. Her arm you can use the ball joint to make her arm go out a little bit more, but if you want to use just the hinge, it can pretty much only go about this much. It can rotate. It takes a little bit of finesse with because of the mix of the hinge joint and ball joint in the arm itself that I didn't mention till now. And then just a hinge joint on the arm can do a pretty good bend, and then another hinge joint on the hand that you can mix with the swivel to get a pretty good amount of articulation at the hand. And then torso articulation is really good, which is honestly, even though I haven't shown off many amazing Yamaguchi figs, the more I'll show them off on my channel, the more you guys will hopefully realize that they do a good job at making these things articulated. So she can ab crunch pretty damn much. You can make her look down. So remember how I said you can barely make her look down, but you can use the torso articulation to do that? Yeah, this is what I meant. Anyway, she can arch really good, and then side to side, do a little bit like this. Pretty good range of articulation. And then at the leg is a ball joint thing, like most action figures on the leg, and then another ball joint at the thigh that you can also swivel, which makes for higher kicks, and then just more range when you mix in both of those ball joints at once. And then another ball joint hinge joint situation at the leg. We can straighten it out like this, and then get a really deep bend on the leg, and then normal hinge joint with not much up and down motion, and then you can get a pretty good pivot. Not like insanely good, but still pretty good, I'd say. And then toe bend. So her articulation is really good. Really good, I'd say. Let me put her in a pose and then just give my final verdict and final thoughts on the figure. Now, before I give my final verdict, I do want to do one last thing, and that's just a quick figure size comparison time. With the stand a little bit close to 7 inches tall. Pretty tall figure. Well, like I don't know, 12th scale figure, about. So a bit under 5 inches wide with the stand. So let me put it to the side so that way I can get a couple of other figures, like yesterday's review, Harley Quinn, getting Invisible Woman, still tall as ever. Actually, I completely forgot I had my desk raised a little bit. Position everything right, and then boom. Invisible Woman in her full glory. Then Boa Hancock. Then is Shadow the Hedgehog. And then my goat, Godzilla. And then Nile Crocodile. Okay. And then I think that's it for the segment. Time to move on to the final verdict. Final verdict time, let's go. Okay, so this figure, really good level of paintwork, sculpt work, and a really good amount of accessories to come with it, more than I even know to do with, and then a really good level of articulation. Its price point is $130, or at least it was. It might have gone up because, frankly, I bought this back in 2024, if I'm not mistaken. So it has been a while. So, you know, a bunch of different things, you know, a certain orange man and his tariffs might have upped the prices for the idea of buying this if you live in the States at all, like me. So, yeah, this figure's probably become more expensive than $130, but at $130, this figure, if you're looking for something budget and good, not it, but I would say it still delivers on the price point that you're going to be paying for it. It's just, it is a bit on the expensive side. So I give it about give it a 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10. Price could be better, but at the same time, there's a chance it's probably because of freaking political issues and things like that. Because, like, say for example, I have some figures that cost $200 plus to buy in the States that I still haven't reviewed yet, and they are $105 to purchase in Japan. Like, that is some crazy, like, stuff that our government and other legal things are putting on these things of plastic. So hopefully it is a sense of just the government wanting to fuck figure collectors in the ass, but yeah, just really good figure all around. If it is cheaper to buy in, like, places like Japan, for example, and you live there, this figure is a 5 out of 5. I do recommend if it is cheaper over there, because yes, this figure is worth it. It's just that in the States, with these things, all these things going on, making it a bit more expensive to buy over here, it is a bit more on the expensive side, so it does knock it down a full point, because while it is almost essentially a home run of a figure, it is still very expensive. Like I'm mentioning, $130, not cheap. You could buy 2 AAA titles, or like 20 different titles on a Steam seasonal sale. You could get a bit for that price, And if you're not that big of a Catwoman fan, this figure wouldn't really strike your fancy, and you're also not going to really be the most interested in buying a Catwoman figure in general. And buying one for $130, you're probably saying hell no to that idea. So yeah, that's one of the main reasons why I give it a 4 out of 5 instead of a full 5 out of 5. But if you're a big Catwoman fan, you live in a place that sells amazing Kyoto Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi figs for A-OK prices that aren't getting fucked by your government's taxes, embargoes, and tariffs, then yeah, go buy away because you'll probably be getting it at a good price. Hopefully. I haven't looked up the prices of this thing on regional markets, but anyway, just there is always the possibility, so I say then, in the off chance that that's the case. But anyway, I'd say that's it for the video. Goodbye.